Hi Claire, lovely. I hope you're well. This video is for you to use the products that we bought the other day. So I've already cleansed my skin and I've already put a cream on, but my skin is still quite dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and mimic what we bought for you with stuff that I have at home. So instead of, for example, using the specific serum that you've got, I'm going to be using this, as if you've just cleansed and are getting ready to put your makeup on. So let's start with your serum that you have bought. I'm going to use that much for now. I advise you to maybe use 1 pipette, see how it feels, but it should cover both of your palms like this. I would then spread it over your face like so, until you have a nice even coverage. I've completely avoided this area. I've kind of pressed it here, but I haven't taken it right up to my eye. Now, your mattifier will go over the top. I'm using sunscreen because I'm probably going out today. So the mattifier, I would use about that much. And I literally would spread it like this over my fingers, just the top half of my fingers. Now, I can't remember where she mentioned to use this, but I would start by using it all over your face, especially obviously T-zone like I'm doing now. See how it feels, see how your face accepts it throughout the day. But yeah, your skin should now feel sort of nice and plump and sort of fresh. Good. I can't remember if you said you had eyelash curlers, but here is the way that I curl my eyelashes. My eyelash curlers are by Surat. You can get them online. I will send you everything to do with this in a feedback form. So I literally pump right from the root, give it a few pumps, and can you see the way that my lashes gradually move further down? And they gradually curl. Lashes and eyelids like ours, well, sometimes that happens as well, where they don't respond to being curled, they just don't want to for some reason. And that's okay. Yeah, you just got to kind of suck that up and move on, basically. Nothing we can do about it. So eyelids that are shaped like ours, we do have to get right in there and make sure that it's a really good curl. You'll notice as well, sometimes in my video tutorials, my lashes come out. That's totally normal. I haven't put makeup on since last week, well, Sunday actually. And where I only curl my lashes sort of maybe a couple of times a week, sometimes they shed. So if this happens to you as well, please don't worry. It's totally normal. Yeah, we'll forget about this eye because this eye has absolutely just not played ball at all. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that one. But again, if that happens, just paint over it. There's nothing, you can't reset an eyelash, so that's just kind of tough. Okay, so your Kiko primer, we're going to go with doing eyes first. Kiko primer that we use, that we bought, I have the same one, as I'm sure you remember. I'm going to use about that much at first. It's about the size of a grain of rice. And I am going to dip an eyeshadow brush in. I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to work my way up. sort of finish just below the brow bone. I like to be quite firm when I'm putting my eye primer on because I find it kind of wakes my eyes up. It's almost like giving them a mini massage, if you see what I mean. So yeah, we're doing eyes first because once we've got our base on, I want to leave it really nice and fresh. Okay, so this palette is, I've found the closest one to the one that you actually have. So it's got a good sort of matte base colour there, a nice shimmery something to complement that's kind of neutral to warm, and a nice cool grey. And these ones are the ones that I kind of like to play around with most often. These ones I haven't actually used yet, as you can see, because they haven't been touched. So we're going to go over the whole of the eye with your base shade. So this is how to build an eye makeup. So we go over the eye primer with our base shade. A base shade should be a really boring, really light colour. And by boring, I mean matte. I pat that over the whole of the lid. Okay, so say we're going for something just really soft and really pretty. I'm going to mix two shades that are almost mid shades. So these are your mid shades. So in order to build an eye makeup, you want to start with a base, then go to a mid shade, and then go to something darker. And if you want to, you can add something jazzy after. Jazzy, shimmers, that kind of thing. Now with our shaped eyes, I like to start at the base, pat and push into my lashes, and gradually make my way up. And I haven't added any more product. I'm just distributing the product where I want it to be. Now with my eyes, I quite like going up to my socket finishes here. So I like to just going up to where my socket finishes, so that by the time I open my eyes, it's almost like a sort of graduation of colour. And we're going to blend that in a second. But we're going to mix these two mid colours again. And we're going to do the same on the other eye. I like to start in the middle, just because the way that my eyelids are shaped, I find the middle is easier to start with. I found that if I'd started here, I'd look like I'd been punched in the eye. And you might very well find the same. So I start in the middle and sort of bring the brush back and forth over my lid, going inside and then back out, and obviously going back into the middle again. This look isn't necessarily designed to be your wedding look. I'm literally just showing you how I would use the colour palette. I didn't think I had, but I've cleaned all my brushes, which is great. So you want to get like a blending brush next. I use something like this. In my kit, I have sort of bigger and broader versions of this that are a bit fluffier. I also have denser versions. I, for you, would go with something maybe sort of this kind of shape. Again, I'm going to find some brushes for you later and send them to you in a separate email. And we're just going to blend over that harsh line that we've caused. So can you see the way that that colour really softly graduates up my eye, but you can't tell where it finishes? Now we're going to go in with a darker shade. Let's use this one, which looks kind of scary, but we're going to put it on a little smudgy brush like this. You can also put it on a brush that's similar in shape to this. It's like a little lipstick brush. But I'm going to use this. So we've dipped it into that really sort of dark neutral aubergine. And I'm just going to dot it along my lashes. And I stop right just before my lashes finish. I'm doing this as almost like a day look, so something to ease you into using the colours you've been given. And then we can go back in and we can just soften it a little. So if you get any drop down here, this is why we put the eyes on first. Don't worry about that for now. I'm not going to line my eyes because I don't think we bought you an eyeliner. I'll show you how to do that at your trial anyway. Mascara. So I'm going to tilt my head right back. I roll the wand towards the root of my lashes and I literally just push and wiggle. And I kind of bring the brush sort of along the lash, but I don't press the brush too far up against my eyelid. Again, because they're heavier. And the mirror, as you can see, is down by my chin. I don't ever put mascara on looking straight into a mirror because I would just get it everywhere. And it's the same with your eyelids. You want to look down into a mirror, or if your mirror is here, you want to tilt your head right back so that you're really getting into the lash without getting mess everywhere. And on the inner corners and for definition, I use the tip of the wand. So can you see what I mean by the bent lashes? They will kind of sort themselves out. They don't look perfect, but they do sort themselves out and look a lot better than they did bare. So obviously put on as many mascara coats as you like. When I'm going out, I put 2 on, like going out sort of for socializing. But for work, I only ever put 1 on because that's all I have time for. And by really getting into the roots with your mascara, you sort of thicken them up and you can make it look as though you've got liner on. Now lately with our eye shape, I really like pressing the pigment into the center of my lashes. I just feel like it makes the center ones stand up on end a little more, therefore opening our eyes up. See what I mean? Just a little detail, just little details like that. And I find things like that are really kind of easy to pick up on and easy to do, or easier. Okay, so I'm going to put base on now. So I can't remember what shade you are, but always give this kind of foundation a little shake. And what I recommend is, I mean, I do this differently because I'm used to doing it, but you want to sort of wipe the excess off. So there's hardly sort of anything on there. There's nothing that's going to dribble. And I don't pipette the product on like they do in the store. I literally roll that amount off and that will do our whole face. She put far too much on you in the store. I mean, that's what they're trained to do. And if it doesn't do our whole face, then we can just add more. That foundation is so highly pigmented, you really only need about that much. So we're going to dip a nice fluffy brush into it once. So can you see how much product is on there roughly? It's just covering the tips. And we're going to dot it where our red bits are. Okay, yeah, I've just run out, so one more. Right, there we go, gone. And I'm going to carry on using the fluffy brush. Just because I feel like it, basically. The pigment is already on this brush. And for me and you, because you get sort of red cheeks as well, I kind of dust it lightly over the cheeks. But my main attention is here where I get excess redness. And under my eyes where there's discoloration. And I see you had that as well last week. It's hereditary, unfortunately. We'll never get rid of it. Just drink loads of water, that kind of thing, and take care of your skin, which you do because your skin is beautiful. And can you see I'm kind of buffing in bits where I need to, and the way that I bring the brush up, I angle it up away from my eyes just so we get a nice tidy line with the shadow. I hope you can see all this properly. Let's show you more in the light. Okay, so I'm going to put a touch more foundation on, just a smidge, just to calm down the redness in my cheeks. My house is really warm this morning, so this might actually be really good practice for summer when it's warmer. And again, I'm literally going to take most of it off and pipette just that much. Very little and often. You know, we don't need to whack things on all the time, constantly. I'm literally just dusting that. Just very gently, very softly over my cheeks. So I have used the same brush as well, because any excess that's left in the brush will be really nice to dot over places like our forehead. You just do a very gentle dusting. You know, makeup artists tend to put loads of foundation on their foreheads, and I'm not sure why, because we don't always need it. So that's base, like, done. I'm going to go on to, so we're imagining that this is your Cover FX brush that you bought, and I'm going to put a powder bronzer on because you've got a powder bronzer in your Pixie palette. So I'm going to use my powders and blushes, and I'm going to use this one for the sake of using something that's similarly sized to what you have. So we're going to press our brush. There's loads on there, don't worry about that. We're then going to just tap the top, and then we're going to lightly dust it. I sort of start from the outside of the cheeks very softly. You can see the bristles are hardly changing shape. And I'm going to dust it over my forehead and around my cheeks. Can you see that warmth that that's given me already? And use the shape of this brush to glide over your cheeks. And you have this little nook here like I do. So use that. I also like to kind of almost create like a ski mask type shape with it under my eyes, because I find that it really helps with calming any darkness down in my eyes. Like, it brightens the area without adding loads and loads of concealer. So can you see how sun-kissed that looks now? And your shade is very similar, so this will work really well for you. Then we're going to go in with our RMS highlighter. Now, I'm really enjoying using this with a balm at the moment. So I'm literally just going to very gently sort of skim my finger over the top of that. And then I'm going to get Paw Paw, which is gluten-free. It's just got papaya in it. I'm also really keen on investing that lip balm that the Organic Pharmacy showed us. That looked really nice. And I'm literally just going to take a little bit of that. And can you see I've created almost like just a bit more of a balm. And I'm going to tap that just over my cheekbones just to give a really nice healthy glow. Now usually I would finish with a bronzer, but the bronzer's powder bronzer, so I wanted to put the powder product on first so it doesn't stick to the wet that we're putting on. Lovely, it's that really delicate sheen, and I'm going to add just a touch more just to here. Oh, I've been bitten. And then we're going to just blend so that just ever so slightly brings our brow bone out. So that brightens the eye area. Just going to wipe that off now. Now I'm going to do cheeks. So your Pixi cheeks are in a sort of a balm tube. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our foundation brush again, and I'm going to use these two for the sake of, you know, ease of comparison in texture and in colour. So we're literally going to scrape a little bit of each on my hand like that. Can you see that? So when you get your sticks, don't apply them from the stick. If you can, rub a bit on your hand like I've done here, and then we're going to dip our brush into them, and then we're going to blend the colour on the back of our hand. If you want, obviously because it's your product, I would poke the product and then poke onto the other product and then blend on the back of the hand. And then we're going to smile and we're going to blend that colour out. Now, because my cheeks are really red, I really don't need very much of this at all. You obviously can go as crazy as you wish. If you're on a day where you just feel like you want loads of summery blusher, then go for it. Always remember to smile because it brings your cheeks out. And literally, you just want to sort of blend. And you can pat as well, just to kind of blend that out more. Okay, and what you can do is use the lighter one sort of all over the cheek, and then use the pinkier one and just kind of dot it right in the center of the apple of the cheek, and that looks really pretty as well. But I personally like to mix them because they're really quite nice together, which is why I recommended that you buy the two and then you can mix them. Right, I'm going to fill my eyebrows in now, but I realise that you have a separate product to me. But what I like to do with eyebrows is use a fine angle brush and a matte eyeshadow. I've always used Mahogany by Bobbi Brown because I like the shade. And I start from the centre. I call it the centre because it's the centre of the face. And I literally flick pigment up using an angled brush in the direction of the hair growth and then taper it off at the end. Can you see that? And I've only dipped into that once. I'm going to dip into it again, obviously, for the other eye. And then after doing that, I go over with a clear gel. And again, brushing upwards, brush the pigment out. And then I need a mirror for this because I can't actually see very well. And then just brush the hair down so it's nice and neat. Now I like mine to be a little bit flicked out quite a lot of the time. If you don't, then brush up and across and then just slide the wand down, just the edge of the wand, and you can slide along the top. Oh, that's odd. I never have this eyebrow shape. But yeah, can you see how that's really neatened that up? And that one's a bit wild up, which is what I prefer. And your lipstick. So we bought you a red bullet, didn't we? Now what I like to do lately, since going to the Pat McGrath event, red lipstick, really mush it in on the hand to warm the product up. I've already got lip balm on. And we're literally going to take our wedding ring finger, pigment, and we're just going to tap. I always start from the center and work my way out to the edge. And use the shape of your finger to fill in your Cupid's bow. And then work your way down just using the tip. Okay, I hope you enjoy this, Claire. Watch to your heart's content, and if you've got any questions at all, drop me a line.